Hey boys and girls, welcome to another flip video. Today we'll still be talking about long division with our 5 different steps, but we'll just be focusing on just the remainder part today. So let's get started. Alright, so this word problem says the softball league received a donation of 308 bats. There are 5 different teams in the league. If each team got an equal amount of bats, how many would be left over? So we see here we've got some important information. See, equal amount of bats is important. But right now we're seeing that the question is asking just how many would be left over. So we are still going to have to divide, but we're really just going to be worried about the remainder. But we will still have to do all the different parts. So again, our steps for long division: divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, and repeat. So we have 387 divided by 5. Now how many times does 3 or 5 go into 3? It doesn't at all, so that would be a 0. I'm just going to move right over, so now I see I have a 38. So how many times does 5 go into 38? Well, if we're listing our 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and 40 is too much. So if I count that up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it will be 7 times. 5 times 7 is 35. Next step is to subtract. That would leave me with 3. Bring down my 7. And now I repeat the whole process. How many times does 5 go into 37? And I can look at my chart. 35 is closest. That's another 7. 7 goes up top. 5 times 7 is 35. Subtract, because that's my third step. And now I had a difference of 2. I see nothing left to bring down. So now my R is a remainder. So that's remainder 2. I'm still going to check this just to make sure. So 77 times 5, that's 35. 35 plus 3 is 38. Plus 2 will give me 387. Now, my answer is not this whole thing, though, because it doesn't want to know how many each team got. It wants just the remainder part. So how many would be left over? The answer would be 2 bats are left over, because each team, the 5 teams would each get 77 bats, then there would be 2 left over. Let's move into our next example. This is the example where you will work it out and solve it. They also found 598 extra gloves and decided to share with the other league for a total of 8 different teams. How many gloves remained once they were all passed out? So find your clue words and all that information and solve it. Alright, so I'm looking for my key clue words here. I see 598, I see 8 teams, I see share, I see remained, that's going to actually be my question. Remained meaning how many is left over. So 598 divided by 8. How many times does 8 go into 5? Well, it doesn't. Oh, I forgot my steps. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, repeat. How many times does 8 go into 5? It doesn't. This time I'll walk through the steps. 8 times 0 is 0. Subtract 5, bring down the 9. Now, how many times does 8 go into 59? Well, if I'm multiplying, 8 times 7 is 56. That's pretty close. Let's try that. 7 up top. 8 times 7 is 56. Subtract, and that's a 3. That's less than 8, so I know I'm good. Bring down my 8. How many times can, now I repeat the whole process, how many times can 8 go into 38? So I'm thinking 8 times 5 is 40, so that's too much. 8 times 4 is 32, so that's less. Let's try that. So 4 goes up there. 32, once I multiply 8 and 4, subtract 6, remainder 6, because there's nothing left to bring down. Still do need to check this though. 74 times 8, because I'm taking my quotient times my divisor. 74 times 8 would give me 2, carry the 3, 8 times 7 is 56 plus 3, 59. Doesn't match. Oh, looks like I forgot my remainder. So 598, and we see these match. However, I just want to know how much is left over. So I see my remainder, or remainder. That is 6, so that means 6 gloves are remaining. That's supposed to be an E in there. So our final problem, and which is the one you solve when going back to school. After it was all over, the teams in both leagues decided to have a party. One team couldn't make it though, so there were only 7 teams. They ordered 492 pizzas, which is a lot of pizza, and they gave them equally to each team. So how many extra pizzas were there? Extra being a clue word for leftover. So I'll be looking for an answer to this in the morning. Have a wonderful rest of your evening.